All right, let's get right into it. If you've got rental property here in Kansas City, you already know that every single dollar counts. But what if I told you that one of your biggest expenses, your property manager, could actually start paying for itself come tax time?
So that brings up the big question, right? For every landlord in Missouri or Kansas, are you leaving money on the table? Like actually leaving cash behind when you file your taxes?
Well, the short answer, it's a big fat yes for most of you. Seriously. That fee you're paying to your property manager, that's a direct path to slashing your tax bill. So let's get into exactly how this works and why it's such a big deal. First things first, what does the IRS have to say about all this? Look, this isn't some shady loophole or a secret trick. It's actually a super fundamental part of business accounting that honestly, every single rental owner needs to get. Okay, so here's the key phrase. The IRS calls these a necessary business expense. And what's great is how simple their definition is. It's any cost that's both ordinary and necessary. I mean, think about it. For a rental business, is there anything more ordinary and necessary than making sure the property is managed, you've got good tenants, and repairs are handled? Nope, it's the definition of it. So, what exactly can you deduct? This is the fun part. Of course, you've got your standard monthly management fees, but it goes way beyond that. We're talking about leasing fees, for finding and placing new tenants, the costs for coordinating all that maintenance, any money you spend on advertising and marketing, heck, even accounting and legal fees your management company handles for you. Every single one of these chips away at your taxable income. But hang on, it's not quite as simple as just writing off every dollar you spend. There's a really important distinction the IRS makes, and honestly, this is where a lot of landlords get tripped up. And this slide lays it out perfectly. On one side, you've got stuff that's immediately deductible. These are your ongoing operating costs, management fees, small repairs, things like that. You deduct those in the same year you pay for them. Simple. But on the other side, you have depreciated over time. These are the big ticket items, your capital improvements, like a whole new roof or a new HVAC unit. The classic mistake is trying to write off that entire cost at once. You can't. Instead, you have to depreciate it, which just means you deduct a piece of the cost over several years. Okay, and this is super, super important. I have to say this. We're talking about general IRS guidelines here, right? Your own situation, how your business is set up, specific state rules. It all matters. So please always talk to your CPA or your tax advisor to get advice that's tailored just for you. Don't skip that step. All right, so we've established that these fees are deductible. That's great, but knowing you can deduct something and then actually proving it to the IRS, yeah, those are two totally different ballgames. And this is where being organized becomes your secret weapon. And that brings us to the next big hurdle for basically every landlord out there. How in the world do you prove all these deductions? The number one reason the IRS denies a deduction is just bad paperwork. So the real question is, how do you keep from drowning in a sea of receipts and invoices? This is exactly where having a professional system changes everything. Let's just take Alpine Property Management as an example of how slick this can be. Their whole process is basically built with tax season in mind. Everything, every invoice, every repair, every fee, it's all tracked automatically in your owner portal. You get these super detailed monthly statements where expenses are already categorized. And then at the end of the year, boom, you get a clean summary that you can just hand right to your accountant. Easy. And that really is the whole point, isn't it? The goal isn't just to save a few bucks on taxes. It's about saving you time and, let's be honest, saving your sanity. It frees you up to think about the big picture, your actual investment strategy, instead of being buried in spreadsheets all day. So let's talk about how this fits into your bigger strategy. Keeping accurate records does so much more than just make tax time less painful. It directly cuts your taxable income, which means more profit in your pocket. It helps you see trends and how your property is performing. Plus, it's absolutely essential for staying compliant with all the local rules here in Missouri and Kansas, especially tricky stuff like Section 8 regulations. This is where having real, on-the-ground KC market experience is just priceless. You see how this just completely changes the conversation? Hiring a property manager isn't just another cost to add to the list anymore. When you start adding up the tax savings, the time to get back, and all the strategic advantages of perfect record keeping, well, it becomes something totally different. So if you take away just a few things, let it be these. First, yes, your management fees are an amazing tax deduction that helps pay for the service itself. Second,
Organization is everything. It's the key to actually getting those savings and not making expensive mistakes. And third, a system like the one Alpine has in place is designed from the ground up to make all that organization totally effortless for you. So if that kind of streamlined, strategic way of managing your Kansas City properties sounds good to you, then the next step is really simple. You can give them a call at 816-343-4520 or just head over to alpinekansascity.com to find out more. And I'll leave you with this one last thought to chew on. What if that property management fee wasn't an expense? What if it was actually the single smartest investment you could make for your portfolio's bottom line?